Hi, I'm Dr. Margaret Baier, and this is Dr. Maggie Therapy, and this is my old gray mare. She ain't what she used to be, is she? I do equine assisted therapy from time to time, and believe it or not, this is the horse that I use most of the time. She's a little bit mouthy today because she thinks she wants some more food, and I'll probably give her some more. She's already had breakfast, and it's not time for her afternoon snack, so we'll get to that in a little while. But people will often ask me, what is equine assisted therapy? And there isn't anything that says exactly what equine assisted therapy is or isn't. According to Natural Life Institute, they say you do therapy and sometimes you use the horse. So I think that's probably the best way to describe it. I'm still doing therapy. Sometimes my clients work with the horse. And you can't really predict what's going to happen when you're working with a horse, because a horse has her own mind and her own desires. Now, right now, if I was going to be doing equine assisted therapy with someone, I'd be talking about boundaries. What am I going to let this horse get away with, and what am I going to hold her to? So if somebody has a hard time setting boundaries in their relationships, I've seen people who've actually let the horse bite them. I saw once the client actually had her hand in the horse's mouth. And I'm like, don't let her do that. Would you let somebody else come and just take your things or hurt you? But you know what? The answer to that question was, yeah, they did. So learning how to just set boundaries and say, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to act like that when you're with me. That might be something just that simple. Why would you let someone do that to you? Now, my horse is being a little bit mouthy. And there are going to be people who see this video, and you're probably going to say things like, don't let the horse do that. You need to do this. You need to do something else. There are lots of opinions on how to deal with this. Some people will smack the horse. Some people will make them back up. But my clients don't know what to do because most people aren't around horses a lot. So I'm kind of letting some of this go because this is what happens. She'll eventually lose interest. And every once in a while she'll land one. But the reality is, she's like, just please feed me. Now, what I can do, and I will probably do in a little bit, is go inside and give her something that she wants, but it's not going to be food. And she'll act differently. But we look for the way that we interact with the horse. So there are two things going on here. One is, how am I responding to the horse? How is it making me feel? How am I managing myself? If we're talking about boundaries, how am I setting boundaries? Am I letting her get away with this? Am I letting her do things? Some people will say, yeah, I am. But I'm sitting here saying, no, you can't touch me. You can't do that. You have to leave me alone. And you have to be nice because I'm making a video. Is that right, girl? So, understanding what I am doing. Now, some people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid, and they get far, far, far away. And they can't handle it, and they'll run away. So we talk about what it is like for them to stand in this presence where they're not running away and having to set the boundary. So there are a lot of things that go on. And again, we can't predict exactly what that's going to look like because this horse doesn't always act like this. She's doing this just for you guys. But understanding that that's how it is in a lot of ways, in a lot of human relationships as well as just equine relationships. So when I'm working with her, I'm looking at, or I'm watching the client and I'm looking at how are they feeling uncomfortable? How do they manage that? Are they being impatient? Are they reacting afraid? Are they getting frustrated? What's going on? And so looking at how that they work together. And again, we start thinking the other aspect of this, the other part of this is the horse. So for someone who is really struggling with boundaries and maybe they're letting the horse bite them, get away with being ugly, then I say, who in your life is doing that to you? Or what is biting you in your life? We look for the metaphor of that action. The horse isn't a metaphor, the horse is a horse. But sometimes the horse can represent someone in our life, or the way that we interact, the interactions that we have in our life. And we want to learn how to do that. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go inside and see what she does. Hang on a second. My baby girl. My baby girl. So I told you that I wasn't going to give her any food, but I was going to give her something she enjoys. She loves to be brushed. Being brushed is like a nice massage. It feels good. So I'm spending some time with her right now, just brushing her, loving her, and letting her feel good. She really likes to have her belly rubbed. So I'm going to let you see what that looks like when she gets her belly rubbed. I've worked with this horse. We've been together for 15 years. She is an 18-year-old Andalusian cross. She is registered as a Frisian sport horse. And I have shown her in dressage. So that's, for some of you, that just means rewrite English, and it's kind of like, looks like dancing. So you can see the way she kind of bobs her head. Maybe you can't see that. If I stop, she says, do some more. So somebody might ask, what's the value of doing this? Why is this equine assisted therapy? It looks like I'm just brushing the horse. Well, when there's something about the outside of the horse that does something to the inside of a person, and that's a loosely quoted Winston Churchill quote. But in natural livemanship, they talk about self-regulation and to be able to learn how to do that. And one of the things that you do in that is rhythmic motion. And there's something about the rhythmic motion of brushing the horse that doesn't just calm the horse, but calms us, that we be able to do that. And you can see, I'm gonna scratch her belly. She's moving her head away so you can't see. Come on, girl, smile for the camera. Smile. She loves having her belly rubbed. You can see her lips moving. It's such a good feeling. Do you like to have your belly rubbed, girl? I guess metaphorically, we all want to have our belly rubbed sometime. So I'm just brushing her other side. She said, don't stop. Rub my belly some more. Okay, move over. Good girl. Good girl. Well, don't go that far. hanging you here is her empty bucket that she wants me to fill. And I'm like, no, no. And here's another thing about this horse. She really doesn't like it when I'm on the phone. She says, no phone, no phone. You did good, girl. Okay. I want you to back up. Back. Good girl. Okay. I'll get you a carrot. We'll do a carrot. And I'm going to grab a carrot. Every horse is going to be different. Different horses have different things. Oftentimes, when I usually want to do boundaries, I work with Bubba, because some people have called him a pocket pony. It means he just wants to be in your pocket and stay with you all the time. Again, one of the things that we learn with horses is how to set boundaries and how to do that. And then you take what you learn with the horse and you try to apply it in your daily life. You may never see another horse, but you can apply the same kind of principles when you're working with people that you have. All right, so just to kind of sum up on all of that, what went down in the barn, I wanted to kind of just review some of the things that EAP, or Equine Assisted Psychotherapy, is really helpful for. One of those is that it puts us in a situation where we are not fully in control of everything. We can only control ourselves, but we cannot control the beast beside us. And nothing brings that home more closely than when you're working with a horse. My horses are big. I also have a small horse, but the same thing is true regardless of the size of the animal. And if we think that we can control another beast, whether it's a horse or a human, we are sadly mistaken. And so when we are out of our control, when we're out of our element, we feel at a loss for what to do. And I mean, I feel that way a lot with the horse, but it puts us in that position to help us understand that we can't control everything. And it's very important thing for us to come to grips with. And it also strips us of any pretense that we might have. Oftentimes people will come into my office and they sit there and they show their best face, as we all like to do when we are in a situation where we're talking to a stranger or someone else outside of our circle, our immediate circle. And we want people to think the best of us. But when we are working with a horse, we become ourselves. You see who people are. You see how they respond. And they see themselves, and they can't pretend to be somebody or something else. So that will usually draw out who people really are. Quite frankly, some people may not want to do equine assisted therapy because that's exactly what they're afraid of. Another thing that equine assisted therapy does is it evokes really strong emotions. While I was just working with the horse, I was feeling a little bit embarrassed, under the pressure of the video rolling and trying to make sure that this horse was going to do what I wanted her to do. I've been working with her for a long time, so she really doesn't get me riled up anymore. But it does evoke strong emotions. I was in a training years ago doing the equine assisted therapy, and it was very uncomfortable for me because I was thinking that I could get the horse to act a certain way, and it wasn't happening. And then I was being challenged by the therapist who was doing the exercise. I was being challenged as to how I was responding and what my expectations were. So that is a really important piece of that as well. Along those same lines, it provides us with insights to ourselves and more self-awareness. We're not just, sometimes we don't just pretend for other people, we pretend for ourselves. Oh, nothing bothers me, I'm just fine, everything's wonderful. But when we are in that situation, a situation that is out of our comfort zone, then we tend to see how we really respond. And some people could argue, well, that would never happen, but we are always, yeah, you might not be around a horse for the rest of your life, but we are always going to be finding ourselves in places where we are out of our comfort zone, and to know how we are going to respond to that. And I guess the last thing there is that because of all of these things, because of the challenges that we have in doing this equine assisted therapy piece, we start to develop a sense of self-regulation. We start learning more about ourselves, and as we do, we can learn how to develop more patience, more confidence, more peace and calm. I mean, remember, when just brushing the horse, a lot of people will do that because it brings them so much calm. And while they're doing that, they may also be talking, kind of like a stream of consciousness, talking about the things that are bothersome to them or worrisome to them. When I work with adolescents especially, adolescents will often not want to talk unless they're doing something with their hands. And obviously I don't want them playing video games. So, we may do other things that in the office, but when we are doing things with the horse and they're leading the horse or brushing the horse or just standing there with the horse, and they start to get regulated and comfortable and calm in the presence of that horse, then they start to open up and tell me things that they may not have told me before, or it will generate some thought that they had not had before. Anyway, equine assisted therapy isn't for everyone. I'm not suggesting that it is. In fact, most of my clients don't choose to do equine assisted therapy, but it is available and can be very beneficial when you are trying to work through some difficult tasks. Not only working through those tasks, those difficult trials that you may have, but we learn that we can overcome these things, and it helps us become more confident in other things that we do. I hope this is helpful. I hope you gained a little bit more understanding about what equine assisted therapy is, and I hope you will hit like and subscribe, and check me out on my next video. See you soon. Bye.